Patch 14.10 is shaping out to be one of the biggest patches of the entire season, with a mass amount of meta-shifting item and rune changes. By the end of this video, you're going to be completely caught up to speed with everything you need to know for when Patch 14.10 drops on May 15th. And remember, if you're struggling to climb in League, SkillCapped is the only place that guarantees you'll climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service, otherwise you can claim a full refund. We do this because our service really works, and this is the best time of the season to get in on SkillCapped, as we've just released tons of site-exclusive courses designed for you to power learn the most important concepts for climbing in League of Legends stupidly fast compared to those who don't use SkillCapped. Join today for unlimited access to the world's most famously effective League of Legends guides, and remember, one subscription gives you access to all of our other games as well. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to stop wasting time being hard stuck and get the rank you actually want. And with that said, let's get into it. We're going to start off this video by covering all the AD carry item changes as the role looks to be buffed as a whole. First up, a bit ironically, Dagger is going to have its attack speed lowered, going from 12 to 10%. Zeal is going to be buffed though, with Ride increasing its crit chance from 15 to 20%. Kerchai's Shard, which has been an epic item that built into Rapid Fire Cannon, Storm Razor, Static Shiv, and Voltaic Cyclo Sword is going to be removed. There will be a change to Recurve Bow for next patch, with its on-hit damage type being shifted from magic to physical. Noon Quiver, which is an epic item that builds into Kraken, Storm Razor, and Static Shiv, will be receiving a bunch of adjustments. There will be a new recipe that includes a Cloak of Agility instead of a dagger. The cost of Noon Quiver is going up from 1,300 to 1,400 gold. You'll now be getting 20% crit. Attack damage is going down from 30 to 25, and the attack speed is being removed. Hearthbound Axe will be receiving a few adjustments, as a longsword will be replacing a dagger in the build path. Cost is going up from 1,150 to 1,300 gold. Attack damage is being increased from 15 to 20, while attack speed is down from 25 to 20%. There's a brand new epic item being added to the game called Scout's Slingshot. Fire Cannon, Hurricane, and Shiv are 3 items we are aware of that Scout Slingshot will build into. The recipe will consist of a dagger along with 600 gold, which puts the total cost of the item at 900. You'll get 20% attack speed, and its passive will deal 40 magic damage. This passive will have a 40-second cooldown, but be reduced by 1 second every time you auto-attack. So it is quite similar to Kerchai's Shard. Moving on to the big ticket legendary items now, we've got a plethora of changes for AD carry. It looks as if Storm Razor is going to be completely removed from the game in 14.10. This could very well put a lot more priority back onto Infinity Edge as a rush item. Infinity Edge is going to provide a massive power spike now, with its crit chance going up from 20 to 25%, and attack damage being increased from 65 to 80. The cost is going up from 3,300 to 3,400, but gold efficiency wise, this is a big net buff. Bloodthirster is going back to being the item that offers a mass amount of raw AD. Attack damage on Bloodthirster is being increased from 55 all the way up to 80. Crit on the item is being removed though, and the passive where you would gain bonus AD while above 70% health is being removed as well. In its place, the passive that used to be on Bloodthirster in previous seasons will be back, as you'll now convert excess healing from lifesteal into a shield. Cost of the item will remain the same at 3,400 gold, however the recipe is changing slightly, with Cloak of Agility being replaced by a pickaxe. With more AD being added to both IE and Bloodthirster, Draven mains should be extremely excited for patch 14.10. Essence Reaver will be receiving some pretty groundbreaking changes, as the item will no longer have the Spellblade passive. This means Sheen is completely gone from the recipe and will be replaced by a BF sword. The cost of Essence Reaver is going up from 2,900 to 3,200 gold, and there will be a new passive to where attacks refund mana on hit. Crit is going up from 20 to 25%, ability haste is being increased from 20 to 25, while AD is going up as well from 60 to 65. So it looks like Ezreal will now be forced into building Trinity Force unless there's a crit build that becomes viable for him. We've got some minor adjustments to the Collector, with its stats being shifted around a little. Cost is going up from 3,100 to 3,200. Pickaxe will be replaced by a BF sword in the build path. Crit is going up from 20 to 25%. AD is being increased from 55 to 60, while lethality is going down from 16 to 15. Kraken Slayer will look like a pretty different item in 14.10, as there's a bunch of changes being issued. Cost is going up from 3,000 to 3,100 gold. The recipe is being altered, as Noon Quiver and Cloak of Agility are out, while Rectrix and Hearthbound Axe are in. Crit will be completely removed from Kraken Slayer. You'll now gain 7% movement speed. AD is going up from 40 to 50, and attack speed is being increased from 35 to 40%. The passive damage amp will now deal up to 1.5 times damage based on the target's missing health. Navori Quick Blades will now have a new name for the next patch, as Riot will be calling it Navori Flicker Blades. It's basically an entire rework of the item, as cost is being greatly reduced while the recipe is changing entirely as well. Crit chance is going up from 20 to 25%. The Impermanence passive, where you dealt bonus damage based on crit chance, is being removed. The Transcendence passive is staying though, and the cooldown refund is being increased from 12 to 15%. Ability Haste and AD are being removed entirely. You will now gain 7% movement speed and 40% attack speed instead. Phantom Dancer is going back to being that big ticket attack speed item for 14.10. The cost is being lowered from 2,800 to 2,600 gold. Recipe is changing as well, with Rectrix being removed and 2 daggers taking its place. Movement speed is going up from 10 to 12%. Crit is being increased from 20 to 25%. AD is being removed, however the attack speed is doubled, going from 30 to 60%. Since there's now so much more upfront attack speed, you'll no longer gain increased attack speed on attack. However, the ghosting effect will remain. We've got a couple of changes to Fire Cannon, as the cost is going down significantly from 3,000 to 2,600 gold. With Kerchai's Shard being removed from the game, Scout Slingshot will be replacing it in the recipe. Crit chance is being increased from 20 to 25%. Attack damage on Fire Cannon will be removed, however, the attack speed is going up from 20 to 35%. Hurricane will be issued a couple of adjustments, with the cost being lowered from 2,800 to 2,600 gold. Scout Slingshot will be replacing Recurve Bow in the recipe. On-hit magic damage from Hurricane is being removed. Bolt total AD scaling is going up from 40 to 55%. And of course, crit chance is being increased from 20 to 25%, which has been a common theme with all crit items. Static Shiv will be getting a pretty big overhaul, as crit is actually being removed from the item. Cost will stay the same at 2,900 gold, however the recipe is being changed completely, as Scout Slingshot and Hearthbound Axe will now be components. Attack speed on Shiv is going up from 30 to 40%, and there will be a new passive to where killing enemies will cause a chain reaction that deals 90 magic damage, hitting up to 6 targets. This damage will be multiplied by 3 when killing champions. There will be no cooldown on the damage proc when killing champions, however there will be a 3-second cooldown when killing minions. Yuntao Wild Arrows, I hope I'm saying that right, will be a brand new AD carry item added in 14.10. Cost is coming in at 3,200 gold, while the recipe consists of a pickaxe, Noon Quiver, and 925 gold. There will be 25% crit and 65 AD on the item, and the passive will be called Big Sting, and it will cause crits to deal 35% total AD additional physical damage over 2 seconds. Shield Bow will be receiving a few changes, with the cost staying the same, however the recipe is going to be altered. Crit chance is going from 20 to 25%, AD is up from 50 to 55, however the lifesteal is being completely removed. We've got some adjustments for Lord Dominic's, as the armor pen is going up from 35 to 40%, crit is being increased from 20 to 25%, and the AD is going from 40 to 45. The Giant Slayer passive, to where you deal bonus damage based on the target's max health, is being removed. Mortal Reminder, on the other hand, will not be receiving the same kind of boost to its base stats as Lord Dominic's, as crit on Mortal Reminder is the only thing that will be adjusted, going from 20 to 25%. There are a few changes being issued to Mercurial Scimitar, as the cost is going up from 3,000 to 3,300 gold. Crit chance is being removed from the item, however, you'll now be getting 10% life steal. Blade of the Ruined King will be seeing some massive changes for next patch, with its on-hit damage being lowered for both melee and ranged. Monster damage cap is going up from 60 to 100, AD is being increased from 40 to 55, while attack speed is up from 25 to 30%, and lifesteal is going from 8 to 10%. The passive slow trigger will now work on your third attack instead of on the first. Just a few minor changes to Terminus are on the way, with its cost not changing at all, but the recipe will now include a Hearthbound Axe instead of Recurve Bow and BF Sword. AD on the item is dropping from 40 to 35, while the attack speed is being increased from 30 to 35%. Alright, now let's take a look at the fighter item changes. Black Cleaver is in line to receive a few buffs. The shred per stack is going up from 5 to 6%, while max shred at 5 stacks is up from 25 to 30%. A brand new item is being added called Overlord's Bloodmail. Cost will be 3,300 gold, and the recipe will consist of 2 tunnelers plus 1,000 gold. Health on the item will be 500 and it will also grant 40 AD. The passive will convert 2% of your bonus health into attack damage. And the second passive will give you up to a max of 10% increased attack damage based on your missing health. Just one change is being issued to Ravenous Hydra as the cast range is going up from 325 to 350. Moving on to the Mage item changes now, there will be a brand new epic item called Faded Ashes. Amp Tome plus 500 gold is the recipe and in total will cost 900 gold. Just one stat on the item as it will grant you 40 AP. The passive will cause abilities to burn enemies for 7 magic damage per second over 3 seconds, increased by 20 per second to monsters. Just one minor change to Leandries for next patch as the recipe is being changed so that Blasting Wand is removed and Faded Ashes is added. There will be one new legendary mage item added to League and it's called Blackfire Torch. It's kind of similar to Leandries, but will provide mana instead of health. The recipe will consist of Lost Chapter, Faded Ashes, plus 700 gold, and in total cost 2,800 gold. You'll gain 25 ability haste, 90 AP, and 600 mana. The passive will cause abilities to burn enemies for 20 plus 4% AP magic damage per second for 3 seconds, increased by 20 per second to monsters. AoE champs will be loving this item the most as you'll gain 4% AP for each champion and epic or large monster affected by the burn. Verdant Barrier, which is a component item to Banshee's Veil, will have its cost reduced from 1,700 to 1,600 gold. Banshees is going to receive a pretty nice buff for 14.10, as from now on, when the spell shield breaks, you'll gain some movement speed. We've got a few damage buffs to the passive on Ludens, as base damage is going from 45 to 60, while the additional damage is going from 0.35 to 0.5. The charge regeneration is also being adjusted so that instead of gaining a charge every 3 seconds, you'll now just gain all charges every 12 seconds. Taking a look at tank and support item changes now, there will be an item removal for 14.10 as Anathema's Chains is being sunset. Bami's Cinder will receive a bit of an overhaul as cost is going down from 1,000 to 900 gold. Glowing Moat will replace Ruby Crystal in the build path, and you'll now gain 5 ability haste, however the health is going down from 300 to 200. Hollow Radiance won't be as tanky anymore as the health on the item is dropping from 600 to 450. Ability Haste is being added on to compensate as you'll now receive 10 haste. It looks like tank items are being hit across the board, as Sunfire Aegis will also be losing health as it's dropping from 500 to 350. 10 haste will be tacked on in exchange. Abyssal Mask will have its cost reduced, going from 2,400 to 2,300 gold. Passive Radius is up from 550 to 700. Magic Resist Shred is being changed from 5 plus 1.2% bonus health to just 20% flat shred. Magic Resist is dropping from 60 to 50, and Magic Resist you receive per enemy affected is up from 9 to 10. Warmogs is back to having the most amount of health for any tank item, as health is going from 750 to 1,000. Base health regen is down, however, from 200 to 100%. Randuin's Omen will have a bunch of its stats changed as the rock solid passive, where you would reduce damage from attacks, is being removed. Health is down from 400 to 350, but armor is up from 55 to 75. Active slow is going from 55 to 70%, and the active cooldown is being increased from 60 to 90 seconds. Just one simple change to Unending Despair, with its passive cooldown being lowered from 7 to 5 seconds. Winter's Approach is going to have its recipe changed so that there's now a giant spell in place of a ruby crystal. Cost of the item stays the same, and you'll now be getting 550 health instead of 400. Health for mana is being changed from 8% total mana to 15% bonus mana. Zeke's is being changed so that it's now a more versatile pickup. Recipe will look a bit different as Glacial Buckler is being swapped out for Cloth Armor and a Null Magic Mantle. Armor is dropping from 30 to 25, however, there will now be 25 Magic Resist on the item as well. Mana is being completely removed, health is going from 200 to 300, and Ability Haste is dropping from 20 to 10. Dawn Core is getting a mini rework for 14.10 as the Summoner Spell Haste and Ability Haste on the item are being removed. Mana regen is going down from 150 to 100%. AP is up from 40 to 60. Passive ability power per 100% mana regen is going from 5 to 10, and you will now gain 16% heal and shield power. Passive heal and shield power per 100% mana regen is down though from 3 to 2%. Shurelya's is being straight up nerfed as the movement speed on the item is dropping from 8 to 5%, while the ability power is going from 55 to 50. Next up, we've got some changes to starting items and boots. Corrupting Potion has been in the game for a long while now, but it's going to be removed in 14.10. There are some massive changes to boots for next patch, as mobility boots will be removed from the game. Boots of Swiftness are being changed so that the movement speed is down from 60 to 45. Slow Resist is being completely removed, however, there's a new effect being added. Attacks will now grant movement speed for 2 seconds, 30 movement speed for melee, and 20 for ranged. Merc Treads will be changed in a few different ways, with the cost going from 1100 to 1000 gold. Magic Resist is being increased from 25 to 30, while the Tenacity is down from 30 to 20%. Plated steel caps are being nerfed heavily, with the cost going from 1100 to 1000 gold. Armor is up from 20 to 25, but the passive auto attack damage reduction is going down from 12 to 8%. A new pair of boots are being added for next patch called Symbiotic Souls. They will cost 900 gold and provide 35 movement speed. The passive will provide you with an empowered recall. There will be a quest on Symbiotic Souls so that once you travel 150,000 units of distance, the item will be upgraded to Synchronized Souls. Synchronized Souls will give you 45 movement speed, the empowered recall, and provide 45 movement speed while out of combat. So in a way, this will be the item replacing mobility boots. The final change to boots is an absolutely massive one for AD carries, as Zephyr is being added to the game. Important to note is that you won't be able to purchase Zephyr until you reach level 15. To build into Zephyr, you will need to have purchased Berserker Graves and have 2,000 gold. The total cost of the item is 3,100 gold. The item will grant 40% attack speed, 20% slow resist, and 65 flat movement speed. So now, instead of just sitting on boots as an AD carry later on in the game, the late game strength of ADCs will become stronger with Zephyr as an option. With all those item changes covered, now let's move on to looking at the rune adjustments. Yone, Yasuo, and a bunch of other champions will have to find a new keystone rune to run in 14.10, as Riot is removing lethal tempo. Press the attack is being changed so that the flat damage on the proc is lower later on. The damage amp is being nerfed so that instead of you and your allies gaining the 8% amp, it will now only be your damage. Cooldown is also being nerfed so that instead of refreshing 6 seconds after proccing, you'll now need to be out of combat for 5 seconds. So the overall extended fight strength of PTA goes down significantly in 14.10. The healing from Fleet Footwork is going to be lowered, while the movement speed duration is up from 1 to 1.25 seconds. Overheal is going to be removed from the game, but in exchange, a new rune is being added. This new rune is called Absorb Life and will go in the first row of the precision tree. It provides you with 2 scaling to 17 health upon killing a target. So we've got a Cho'Gath passive on a rune now. The Legend Tenacity rune is being removed for next patch, and a new rune will be taking its place. This new rune is called Legend Haste, and just going off its name alone, you can probably guess what it provides. Legend Haste will be giving you 1.5 ability haste for every legend stack, maxing out with 15 haste at 20 stacks. Cut Down is being changed so that instead of gaining a damage amp when enemies had a health advantage, you'll now gain an 8% damage amp if the target has more than 60% health. Moving on to some domination runes, the Keystone Rune Predator that absolutely nobody had been running as of recent is being removed. Hail of Blades is being nerfed for ranged champions as the attack speed is dropping from 110 to 80%. The cooldown on sudden impact will be increased, going from 4 to 10 seconds. The passive is changing so that instead of providing hybrid penetration after using mobility or stealth, it will now deal 20, scaling to 80 true damage. Ingenious Hunter is being removed for next patch, and it doesn't look like anything will be taking its place as of recording this video, but that could change before the patch goes live. Relentless Hunter will be seeing a nerf, with its starting out of combat movement speed going from 5 down to 0. Just one change to a rune in the Resolve tree, as Font of Life will no longer provide you with an on-hit heal when you impair the enemy's movement. Instead, when you impair movement, you'll now receive a heal for you and your lowest health ally. Dipping into the Inspiration tree now, First Strike is being altered. The early game gold stacking of First Strike is going up, however the scaling strength is down, as the base gold on hit is going from 5 to 15, however the melee gold from bonus damage is down from 100 to 50%, and for range dropping from 70 to 35%. Damage amp is going up from 7 to 8%. Futures Market rune is being removed for next patch, but there is a new rune being added that will serve a similar purpose. This new rune is called Cashback, and it will give you 6% gold back when you purchase legendary items. So instead of being able to accelerate into your first core item, it's now only your second item, and beyond that, you'll have faster access to. Cashback will be found in the first row of the Inspiration tree. Now, since Futures Market was in the second row, instead of just having 2 runes in that row now, Triple Tonic is being moved down into the second row due to Cashback going into the first one. Minion Dematerializer rune is being removed from the game, so that means another spot opens up in the second row. Moving from the third row to take Dematerializer's spot in the second row is Time Warp Tonic. Tonic will no longer work on biscuits, no longer work on mana, no longer grant 2% movement speed while the potion is active. However, the immediate health restore is going from 30 to 40%. And with Time Warp Tonic leaving the third row, we have a brand new rune taking its place called Jack of All Trades. For each different stat that you gain from items, you'll be given 1 Jack stack. Each stack will grant you 1 ability haste. At 5 Jack stacks, you'll gain a bonus 20 adaptive damage, and at 10 Jack stacks, 25 adaptive damage. Alright guys, and one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit skillcapped.com and see the difference. So there you guys have it, a complete look at all the new item and rune changes that we can expect for patch 14.10. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.